Hey, what's going on, heroes? Pojiforce here, and today we're going to be talking about another special mythical Pokemon being released this month for Pokemon's 20th anniversary. Be sure to stick around till the end of the video to receive a Mythical Collection TCG online code for this month. This Pokemon marks the last mythical Pokemon for the 4th generation of Pokemon games and is arguably the most powerful Pokemon ever created. It's Arceus. But before we get any further, we have to address the age-old debate about how Arceus' name should be pronounced. As you may have noticed, I pronounce it as Arceus, as that is because that is the official pronunciation according to Nintendo. However, other Nintendo media have had the name pronounced as Arceus, so the confusion is understandable. So, let's talk stats. Arceus is the Alpha Pokemon and is a normal type. It has a base 120 stat in each of its 6 stats, giving it the highest base stat total for a non-Mega Evolution Pokemon. Its ability is multi-type, which changes its typing and appearance depending on what hold item it has. Ever since Generation 4, there have been these items called plates, which can be found throughout the game. Each is geared towards a different Pokemon type, boosting moves of that type. However, when Arceus is equipped with them, it changes Arceus' type as well due to this multi-type ability. Arceus has the signature move Judgment, a special attack with 100 power, 100 accuracy, and 10 power points. While normally a normal type move, the typing of Judgment reflects whatever typing Arceus is thanks to multi-type. The lore around Arceus is pretty intense. First off, Arceus is the god of Pokemon. Kind of a big deal. The Pokédex states that according to mythology, Arceus was born before the universe existed and shaped the known universe. Arceus' design references religious figures and iconography of dozens of real-world religions, which you can actually hear about in this video about Arceus by The Dex. You should check them out. They're an entertaining channel that provides trivia and battle strategy about a new Pokemon each week. I've been a long-time subscriber. They're a pretty good channel. You should check them out. Now, Arceus supposedly created the creation trio, that of Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, as masters of time, space, and antimatter respectively. These would be the Pokemon who created reality, but we give Arceus credit since he created them. From there, Arceus then created the Lake Trio, Azelf, Mesprit, and Uxie, as masters of knowledge, emotion, and willpower, to give the new universe purpose and focus. Kind of like Nehru to the Creation Trio's Den. Now, an interesting bit of lore about Arceus is that its Diamond Pokédex entry states it uses its 1,000 arms to shape the world. Now, aside from being a reference to the Buddhist deity Avalokitesvara, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, it's a rather curious Pokédex entry, seeing as Arceus has no apparent arms to speak of. It's quadrupedal. However, there is an interesting theory out there that arms may be a metaphor in the same way that the Christian Bible refers to Christians as the body of Christ. These arms may actually be something else, specifically the Pokemon Unknown, the mysterious alphabet Pokemon who has been shown in the anime to have world-altering powers. There's detailed explanation of this theory by Noggin over on their channel, and I highly suggest you check it out. It's an interesting watch. And speaking of the anime, Arceus has had some very interesting appearances there as well. Its first appearance was in the Arceus and the Jewel of Life movie. Without digging too deep into the plot, the various plates previously mentioned are given a new name, called Life Plates. In the anime, Arceus' power scales directly with how many of them he possesses, being close to death when he loses all of them. When he's saved by a human named Deimos, he thanks the man by taking 5 of his plates and creating the Jewel of Life. The Jewel of Life had the power to make Deimos' hometown of Machina Town flourish and prosper. However, Deimos was not supposed to keep the Jewel of Life, and when Arceus went back to retrieve it, he was seemingly betrayed by Deimos. Arceus was beaten back into his own dimension where he was forced to sleep for thousands of years in order to heal, and he vowed to seek vengeance on mankind upon awakening. So, interestingly enough, Arceus, the all-powerful god of Pokemon, was the villain in this movie. Wild, I know. But long story short, Ash wins Arceus over with the power of friendship and all that, and they all live happily ever after, so it's okay. So not exactly the best Pokemon movie ever, though what I found most interesting about this one is how it seems to excuse Arceus' lack of world-warping power in the video games. While certainly powerful, it's not exactly infinite cosmic power. And that may be because, at most, you can only ever give Arceus 1 plate at a time. If the metric that Arceus' power scales with the number of plates he has in his possession, it would explain how Arceus could feasibly be trumped by something much more mundane. On the flip side of Arceus in the video games has a 120 base stat in every stack, with the highest non-mega base stat total in the game, while he's holding 0 plates, at most 1? I can only imagine what his power would be like if you could somehow give him all 18 like plates at once. And by the way, it's worth mentioning that every appearance Arceus has made in the manga has him also playing the villain role, so I guess we just like to have God mad at us. Now to me, Arceus' most interesting appearance in the anime wasn't even really about Arceus. While Arceus in the Jewel of Life seems to take great care to avoid painting Arceus as God, much of the Hoopa and the Clash of Ages movie is centered around a religious group that actively worships him. What's more, these priests of Arceus wear holy symbols resembling the ring about Arceus' midsection, and they can even cast mystical divine magic with Arceus' blessing. It really makes them look like clerics from Dungeons & Dragons, which just seems to further emphasize Arceus' role as god of the Pokemon world. And finally, we're going to talk about Arceus in the card game. Now, I know we don't normally talk about the TCG much here, but I thought a little bit about Arceus was interesting enough to be worth a mention. In the Pokemon TCG, you can only use up to 4 cards with the same name. To give an example, you could have like 3 different Bulbasaur cards with different attacks, weaknesses, HP, etc. But you could only ever have 4 cards with the Bulbasaur name in your deck at a time. When Arceus was released, there was an Arceus card for every Pokemon type in the TCG, except for Dragon and Fairy type because those didn't exist yet. And as a special rule, unique only to Arceus, you could ignore the 4-card rule when using him in a deck, meaning you could literally fill your deck with Arceus cards of all types. I guess it makes sense that a Pokemon powerful enough to be given the title of God would be strong enough to disregard the rules of the game. Talk about reality shaping. So that's it, Arceus, the god Pokemon that is both super beatable and yet unfathomably strong and probably wants to kill you. Don't forget to pick up your code card from GameStop so you can have one of your own. And I hope you guys enjoyed this new format, as I really wanted to give you a more thorough and entertaining video for these Pokemon 20th anniversary videos. As promised, as a thank you for watching the video, there will be a code for the Pokemon Mythical Collection Arceus on screen. Whoever's the one who gets to it first, let us know in the comments below what you get out of the Generation Packs. I'd be very curious to know. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for updates of future videos. And as always, heroes, I'm Poji Force, and you guys stay awesome. Take care.